I woke up at 4:35 a.m. for some reason. Just couldn't get back to sleep. Now it is a little after 6 and I'm like, well, I'm nowhere closer to feeling sleepy. Went to my room, grabbed one of these, and I decided that I'm going to do this now. As you can see, we have Stress Less, and it reads, catch up with a loved one over the phone. This one's a nice one. I always encourage people to keep up with anyone that you're pretty tight with, whether it be in written form, ideally hang out with them. But as someone who has never really spent time hanging out with people that much, I also find that the older I get, the harder it gets because you get busy. You're just worried about making sure that everything that's pertinent to your adult life is addressed. And most of our issues seem to revolve around money. You either have enough of it, but still feel like you gotta continue building on it just in case, or you don't have enough. And then, of course, in the quest to resolve that, you end up having to neglect other areas of your life. And I can get behind the people who are advocating for something like shorter days, shorter work days. And a lot of pushback seems to come from the folks who had to work the conventional way. And I'm always thinking, well, while it's not ideal for things like this to happen in your lifetime, sometimes I think that it is ideal for it to happen in your lifetime. And what I mean by that is, let's say that a change happens after you're old, so you didn't get to take advantage of it. Well, let's think about times of conflict. What about the people who had their lives disrupted by conflict, political unrest, and things like that, and they lost part of their youth, or they lost their better adult years to that? I just feel like sometimes when we argue about what it's going to cost you, I look at it as maybe that is the price that you just have to pay. Maybe at that point, it was not about you, which is something hard for me to say because sometimes I think about how I, as the sole individual manager of my own life, I'm like, yeah, everything that I perceive to me is going to be about me based on how I interact with it, based on how it feels on me. I can't deny that. But when it comes to bigger changes like cultural shifts and things like that, I'm like, this is the part where I can step a little bit outside of myself and think of the bigger picture. For me, I'll always be thinking about why everything just needs to take so long and be so difficult if you come from nothing, like if you're not a privileged person. And that's the type of thing that the folks I would want to catch up with may need to hear, and hopefully they are aware of it. But sometimes I feel like the more I express these things to certain people, the more it seems like they get it, but they just refuse to accept it and embrace it entirely because it's not the worry of their time. And some of the folks who I have stopped talking to, our issues came from that, what they thought I need, and I was letting them know what I actually need, but they weren't taking it because I have to follow the conventional path. Playtime is over. And I'm like, what do you mean playtime is over? I've never been playing. I haven't gotten to play. Definitely an important one. Right off the bat, I can think about my mom. I really don't get to talk to her much because she's in like a rural area and she has like a really patchy reception. The last time I talked to her, it was like we had some 2-3 minutes where it sounded okay, but then it started acting up. I'm not sure if she has Wi-Fi at her place, but maybe I should mention to her to consider that. And finally, I can also mention that, let's face it, I prefer to text because when you're on a call, I'm glued to the phone. I feel committed to the phone, and I'm someone who's always moving. I don't want to be on the speakerphone. I don't want to be using headphones. I don't want to be holding the phone. Sometimes, because I cannot sit still, that's why I like to tell someone, how about if we just hang out instead, you know? And If not, which that's normally not a possibility, then either wait until the next time you see me or text me. But I just don't like to be on the phone. And on top of that, I have trouble understanding some people over the phone to me. Some people just sound like they mumble. I'm not a fan of the phone. I'm grateful I have it, but if I can avoid it, I will avoid it. Well, there you guys have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Is there anyone you're thinking about who you need to catch up with and the over the phone is your only option? Maybe consider breaking the ice and giving them a call. For me, while I'm grateful that nobody bothers me, sometimes I do think it just sucks that some people are, I guess, too busy or too distracted to take the initiative. Because I have thought about why is it that other people always tell me, oh, make the first move when it comes to reaching out to someone, break the ice. And I'm like, well, what about them? What makes them incapable of breaking the ice and making their move on me? Nobody ever does that. That's what you're feeding me. And that's what I'm going to feed you back. All right, I'll see you soon.